team, mean what they say, and then you figure out that you're all on the same team and you're not going to win unless you play together. You don't have to like each other to play together. You just have to be committed to winning. Because when I throw that ball, you've got to catch it. When I run through that hole, you've got to make the block. Or I'm getting nowhere. That's what Jim Jordan meant by a template. So what's going to happen is the healthcare deal is going to be kind of like, okay, this is how we're going to do the budget, this is how we're going to do tax reform, this is how we're going to do immigration policy, this is going to be the template. And I think that's a good sign. It's not going to be everything we want. I wish it was going to be. But I want to take one more second, and I'm sorry, you and I go all over the place. You see me speak, it's just kind of freedom of thought. But I want to bring this to your attention. I think it's pretty interesting. How many of you guys remember Donald Trump saying, Obamacare is a disaster, it's self-destructing, it's a mess. I ought to let it keep going because the Democrats own it and let you people see how bad it really is. It's going to destroy everything, but I can't do that because we got to help the people. Have you heard him say that?
Yep.
Numerous times, okay? And that was the right thing for him to say, okay? But at the end of the negotiations, when the health thing fell apart, there was a point, I thought we had a deal. The deal that we had was the Freedom Caucus demanded, could not vote for it unless the insurance mandates were out. Because that's why it costs so much. It costs so much because you got to buy the whole Cadillac with all the fancy wheel covers and all that, and you just want a regular car. So you got to pay more money because they mandated everybody has to buy everything, right? So the only way to bring our costs down, which is what I told them was, I don't care what you mean by repeal and replace. I don't care what you mean. I don't care what Washington speak you use. Let me tell you what it is. What we mean is our premiums go down, okay, and our deductibles go down, and our health care gets better.
Amen.
I don't care what you call it. I don't care how you do it. That's what you got to do. And if you don't, we're coming after you in 2018. And we don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, we don't care who you are. Because you're messing with my life and my family and my business. Okay? So if you understand that, you got that, okay? So I think I made it pretty clear to them. I'm such a subtle guy, it's hard to really know what I mean. But the bottom line was that they were negotiating this, and the President Trump and Pence and those guys negotiated. The Freedom Caucus got that. They were going to get rid of the insurance mandates. And the Tuesday group, who the guy heading that up, you want to talk about a nut job? The guy from Pennsylvania? Go look at this guy. And if he's a Republican, I'm a donut, okay? This guy, I don't know what the hell he is, okay? But he ain't no Republican, but he's the head of the Tuesday group, all right? So they get in their little meeting after the Freedom Caucus gets the mandates repealed, and literally, quote-unquote Republicans stood up in a meeting like this and said, I demand that you have to have mental health coverage. And I demand that you have to have paternity care. These are Republicans telling you what kind of insurance you have to have. What? Okay? Are you nuts? Right, yeah, they're like John Kasich. Very much, right? So what happened was there was this little rumor that came around that said that they were going to do something where the states were going to have to pick and choose what part of the repeal they take. Okay? Now when that came up, it was like the Thursday before the vote on Friday. And I didn't like it. And the reason I didn't like it was because they were trying to sell us this three-part plan, right? With the whole idea that the third part would never quite ever show up, but you guys got to believe it will, all right? And in that third part it was that you'd be able to sell insurance over state lines. And I'm thinking, okay, if every state can make up their own insurance law, how the hell are you going to sell it over state lines? So I'm like, time out, that's got to go. No, we're not doing that. All right? Well, the best thing that those conservatives did after that vote failed was, Rand Paul and Jim Jordan and Meadows and those guys stepped to the mic and said, whoa, 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 Paul Ryan just says we're stuck with Obamacare for the foreseeable future. That shows how much he knows, okay? And they stepped up and said, hey, we're close. We're going to keep talking. We're going to keep negotiating. And they did. And so they worked on that issue. So now let me throw something at you that would be kind of fun. Remember what I said, Trump said, right? Obamacare is a disaster. I should let them all live with it and feel the pain, okay? But I can't let that happen. So think about this. They're going to come, what you're going to see this week is going to be a thing that has states' authority in it to pick and choose some of the Obamacare repeal. Okay? Now, there's two things that are not going to be there. Two things that are going to be absolutely for all the states. The 26-year-olds can stay on your insurance, and you can get insurance without penalty for an existing condition. Trump promised that when he campaigned. He can't go back on that. That's going to be there. Okay? But the healthcare mandates, the community, where they didn't judge you by your illnesses and put you in a pool of people like you to get your insurance, they did the community plan. Right? We're gonna throw you all into this pool and decide your rates based on the whole community. That kind of stuff is going to be available on a state-by-state basis. So think about this. How fun would this be? How about if you repeal Obamacare at the federal level this week, but you tell the states you can pick and choose? Well, what's going to happen in California and New York? They're all talking about Obamacare's great, it's great. Whoa, Obamacare's great. So they're going to have to go home to their state and say, well, we're going to go full Obamacare, right? We're California, we believe in this. But in the red states, what's going to happen? Get that stuff out of here. We want free markets, we want free plans, we want our deductibles down and all that. So guess what's going to happen? Pretty much what Trump wanted, but he won't get blamed for it. Because in the course of a couple of years, you'll have people in California paying 4 times as much for the same health care you're getting in Ohio because they're so stupid that they'll just keep on playing the game until it destroys them. And I'm thinking, this is great. Let's give them as much rope to hang themselves as we possibly can. What a perfect example of federalism. Let the states experiment and let's see who wins. Let's see who wins. You think that'll be fun? Guess what happens in 2020? A lot of those people in those blue states start voting for Republicans. Because their premiums are still off the charts. Okay? So here's the deal. They're kind of heading that direction, but unfortunately, I don't think the Republicans are smart enough to do it. Okay? Because what they're really doing is looking out for their own selfish interests. Right? So the guy in Pennsylvania who's not a Republican, he wants to go full Obamacare, so he's thinking about his own selfish interests. So the challenge here, and if you get to talk to your congressman or anything, kind of talk to them about this. The challenge here is to keep every state in their own silo. Because the way the left lives is by taking money from us. See? So if you decide you're going to go full Obamacare, knock yourself out, but you don't get any more money from us. Right? When the money starts to run out, then we see what happens. All right? But that would be the way to do policy. That's what I would like to see more of from our representatives, instead of this nonsense like you guys referred to earlier in this presentation about, we don't want to shut down. How many of you are afraid of shutting down the government? I don't see any hands. Well, what do you guys are terrible people. The God, you won't get your Social Security check. Is that true? No, right? I don't know. China, North Korea will be able to attack us because the sailors will jump off the boat because they don't get paid, right? Right? What percentage of the federal employees don't work when they shut down the government? Who knows? How much? What percentage? When they shut down the government, what percentage of the federal employees don't work? 17%. 17%. Okay? I'm disappointed it's that low. Right?
And then they still get paid when they go back to work.
You bet they do. But you know what I want to do? I want to shut down the government, send them all home, and then have the Department of Justice go into their offices and find out how they've been undermining Trump and leaking their stuff so they can arrest them when they come back to work. What do you think? You guys for that? That's a plan. That's a plan. I like that plan. Right? Okay? I think that's what we need to do. Because that's the problem. These people aren't working for us. They're working for somebody else, themselves, primarily. But unfortunately, a lot of work for the left. So, That's my 2 cents about where things are going. I don't care about a government shutdown. And this nonsense that we have to give the Democrats anything in order to get them to vote to not shut down the government? Why? Bob France and I were going back and forth last night and talking about it. He was saying, oh, you know, we can't have a shutdown, we'll get blamed. I said, Bob, who cares? We'll get blamed. We're getting blamed every day for stuff we don't even do, right? They're blaming Trump for throwing a kid's hat away at the Easter egg thing, right? When it wasn't even true. So when are you going to wake up and realize you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, so just do what you want to do, right? What are you afraid of? So, you know, on my show this week, on Thursday when I recorded, my theme is, you know, when are the Republicans going to realize they're being played for fools by the Democrats and the media? They're winning. Did you just see the poll that just came out that said 67% of all Americans, including Democrats, think that the Democrats are disconnected from their concerns? Did you see that? 67% of Americans think the Democrats are Looney Tunes. Folks, you know, in politics, if 51% are for you, you do that. So when 67% of them think they're nuts, why are you afraid to go against them? In fact, you should go against them even more, right? They just gave you permission to beat the snot out of them. So what are you doing? And then what did that poll also? Now this poll was done by, who was the poll done by? Who knows? ABC and Washington Post, folks. This poll wasn't done by the Cato Institute. All right? This is the ABC Washington Post poll. If you go to my Facebook page, where I talk with Tom Z or We the People Convention, whatever, you'll see a link to the poll in my comments. Okay? But in that poll, it also said that if the election were held today, that Donald Trump would not only win again, he would win by a bigger margin, and he would win the popular vote. So why are the Republicans giving the Democrats a damn thing? Why am I going to sit there like those clowns on TV this weekend were saying, well, if we want the wall, for every dollar we get for the wall, we've got to give the Democrats money to keep Obamacare afloat.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, I'm not making this up. They said that. They're talking about that.
Who's they?
The Republican leadership. The Republican leadership is talking about it. And what did Trump do today? He took the wall off the thing. You know why? Oh, because we can't have the government shut down. Why? 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 So let me ask you a question. All right? So it says 67% of people think the Democrats are nuts. Okay? More people would vote for Trump today than they did in the first election. You are a Republican. What percentage of those 67% of the people do you think voted for you? About 100% of them. Okay? Who do you work for? The Democrats or the people in your district who voted for you? They want the wall built. Get your Kleenex, clean your nose, and go in there and build the damn wall. Okay? And I don't care if you got to go nuclear in the Senate with 51 votes. The Democrats would do it in a second.
That's right.
They'd stab you right, looking you in the face, they'd stab you and smile. You think these are reasonable people? My God, these aren't even Americans. These are communists who've infiltrated our country. So why would Donald Trump and Mike Pence and Paul Ryan and all the rest of those clowns defer to them for anything? Why don't they want the wall?
They don't want Schumer to prosper.
They don't want Schumer. They don't want the wall, folks, because it's going to work. Why don't they want to repeal Obamacare? Because it's going to work. Why won't they? Don't they want us to have, you know, this continuing resolution passed on our terms? Because they're at the death's door as a party. And if we keep going, they're done. So why would you help them by not doing what you should do when you got all the support in the world?
That's right.
That's what we're fighting. That's what the problem is. Okay? And so, I mean, it's just amazing to me because all these guys have they have all kinds of money, they have all kinds of budgets. What, you can't do a poll in your district to see how people want you to vote? You're going to listen to the New York Times? I have told numerous congressmen, I said, here's my first tip for you. If the New York Times says do this, do the opposite, and you'll be in great shape.
That's right.
Because there's nothing they're going to tell you that's in your best interest. I can't tell you how many of those guys haven't figured that out yet. Okay? So, let me get on to our topic, because I'm already blowing most of my time and I haven't started. Okay, so, let me talk about this. I do think this is a seminal moment for our movement. I think that we've got Trump elected, we've got all the power, can we learn how to govern or not? So it's going to be rocky here for a little bit, but we got to push forward, and hopefully we'll find out that we did the right things. I think the tipping point will be the 2018 election. I think that we have to hold people accountable. And I told Don Gagné this. I said, I got news for you. We don't owe Donald Trump anything. Donald Trump owes us. Okay? And we don't care who it is that stands against freedom and liberty, who stands against our families and our communities. We will fight them to the death. Okay? It's just that simple. Right? So it's all about us, not about them. And I know that's news to them and to you, but that's the fact. We run this country, you don't, and if we just do our job, we'll get the country we want to have. 2018 could be very interesting. So what are we afraid of most? What are we most afraid of most? When the election happened, when the election ended, it was very clear that a lot of people who have been around for a long time thought a lot about how we wasted the whole Reagan thing. He was great when he was there, but how many guys remember the Midnight Massacre in the Republican Party that George H.W. Bush did? You guys remember this? He got sworn in to replace Reagan, and that Sunday night he fired everybody that Reagan brought into the federal government. The Bushes fired everybody. I'm not making this up. You go look it up. Because they hated Ronald Reagan. The Republicans hated the conservatives, and they wiped them out. And then we just spent, what, another 40 years wandering in the woods. We don't want that to happen again. We have to prevent that. So what is our role going forward? You and I spent 8 years of our lives, a lot of money, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, you know, I told people after the election that a lot of us were having what I call post-traumatic stress syndrome. There were a lot of us really hurting because we had been fighting this war for 8 years. And it wasn't war. There's people who died in my group. Okay, there's people with hip replacements and knee replacements who had heart attacks. There's people who lost their marriages, who lost their businesses, who suffered greatly in this fight. This was not casual. This was not, oh, I have nothing better to do. I think I'll go knock on doors for Kim Laurie. Okay? This was not, you know, oh, I've got all kinds of money, so here's $200. This was people giving me $5 out of their Social Security check to do a poll, to do something to help get someone elected. This was people walking through the snow. This was people standing in the snow for 12 hours handing out slate cards at polling stations. Don't tell me this wasn't a war. Don't tell me our people didn't sacrifice, because they did. You gotta love them. But the fact is, after that, it was tough. Because, like I said here, we're not blowing up the bridge anymore, right? We have to build bridges. We have to do different things. And what do I do? And I don't know what to do. So I kind of told everybody, take a time out. You know, calm down. Let's take a breath here. We finally achieved our goal, right? Now the fight's not over. Just like when we won World War II, right? We won World War II. You know, think about Patton. You know, think about what happened in World War II. Are there any vets here, by the way? If there are vets, please raise your hands if you're vets. Thank you for your service. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. But in World War II, you just defeated the Nazis, and we knew we'd have to fight the Soviets. We just couldn't do it then, right? We had to stop and rethink and say, okay, you know, MacArthur, we got Japan to surrender, but holy cow, what a mess. You think that was easy? You think what MacArthur did with Japan was easy? It's one of the greatest achievements in human history, what he did in Japan. But it was a different fight, wasn't it? And the guys that helped win the Pacific weren't the ones necessary to turn Japan around. Now, it's real simple. Our movement started on tax day in 2009. And we had this TEA, taxed enough already, and we were very much about fiscal responsibility and taxes and things like that. But we learned very quickly that this wasn't all about taxes or finances, right? We learned this is about values. We learned that this was about, what it means to be an American, okay? And we changed our name from TEA, meaning totally engaged Americans, is what we became. Because we understood that's what it was going to take for us to win. But the fact of the matter is that our movement was funded, was fueled, was carried on the wings of the fight against Obamacare. That's just a fact. When we started going to D.C., we were trying to stop Obamacare. When we elected Scott Brown against all odds, it was to stop Obamacare, right? When we elected all those people to the House in 2010, against the odds, more people than had been elected since 1910, I think it was, right? 64 Republicans in the House. It was to stop Obamacare. Obamacare was the engine of our rocket, and we rode it, okay? There were a lot of other things along the way, like Fast and Furious, the Tea Party, targeting, and a bunch of other stuff. But that's our fuel. So what do you do when Obamacare is repealed and Obama's gone? Right? I can't come to this meeting and say, oh, we got to stop Obamacare. You go, we already did. What's next? What's next? So I'm going to take a shot at what's next. Okay? I'm going to try to help you think this through, and we'll talk about it. I think this is our role. I think the single most important thing we can do is restore representative governance. Because all the problems we have come from that. Okay? When we started this, I tell people when I've spoken other times, that when we started this, we were just so naive. We really were. We thought if we just elect the right person, it'll be okay, right? And then we thought there actually was a constitution and people actually followed it, right? Then we thought there was actually law and that people followed the law, right? And then we thought politicians were maybe honest, or at least our congressman was honest, right? And basically every step of the way was like a trap door, right? It's like a trap door. And we just kept going. And I said to people, it's like when you restore a house like this, and you start to work on a rotted out windowsill, and you keep digging and digging to try to find what? Good wood, right? You had to find good wood. Well, we started digging on the 3rd floor, and 8 years later, we were in the basement, we were still digging, and we still hadn't found any good wood, folks. The house was empty. It wasn't even a house. The White House wasn't even a house, it was a movie set. It's a fiction of someone's imagination. It was a TV show. There was no there. Everything that we were taught, everything that we believed, wasn't true. That's the sad truth of it. And during the course of this, we've repaired some of that, right? We've built back some things. We've done some things. But we still have huge problems. And this is the biggest problem. This is the biggest problem. Our biggest concerns, particularly here in Ohio, is that only the rich can run. The only people who can run for office in this state are either people who are rich or who are owned by people who are rich. How can you have representative governance when common people cannot serve? You can't. How is this guy here a great person? We think, oh, you're our guy. We want you to be our House of Representatives guy. We want you to run for House, and we're all going to help you get elected, right? And you get elected, and I don't know, let's say you're a machinist, right? And you're a good machinist, you have a job for 20 years, you're working there, and you get elected to the Ohio House, and now it's a full-time job. So now you go to Columbus for 2 years, and you leave your job, right? And they have to do what? Find someone to replace you, right? So your job isn't there anymore, but you're in Columbus, and you're getting paid, and you got health care and all this, and then the Speaker of the House says, if you don't vote the right way on this bill, we're probably not going to support you for re-election. Matter of fact, if you don't vote the way we tell you on this bill, we're going to give a bunch of money to him, and he's going to run against you. All right? And your family's going to lose your health care, and you're going to lose your job, and all your contacts have disappeared after 2 years, and the job you had isn't there. Why would you do that? And why wouldn't you vote the way they told you? And if you think I'm making that up, I'm telling you for a fact, that is the way law is made in this state. Bought and sold lock, stock, and barrel because we put you in that situation. That must change. So how does it change? Well, first of all, we've got to end professional politicians. Yes. Right? Wasn't it Thomas Paine that says all that's needed to govern is common sense? And I would add integrity. I'll take everyone in this room over any elected official I've ever met. I'll put you in charge. I'll give you the nuclear football. I'd give you the nuclear football. I trust you better than anybody. Right? Because I know you have common sense. I know that you're a bright person. I know that you've lived your life with a certain set of values. They're called American values. Right? So we have to end professional politicians. How do you do that?
Term limits.
Yep.
Well, that's part of it.
We got that though.
That's part of it. How about this? How does the legislature work in Texas? Who can tell me?
They're only there for
6 months or something. It's a very structured.
Yeah, it's how about this? You get elected to the legislature in Texas, you go to Austin for 2 weeks, once every 2 years to make the budget, and you come home. 2 weeks in 2 years. So guess what? You're my representative, but you're home with your wife every night. You're at your kids' or grandkids' soccer game. You've still got your job as a machinist, and they got nothing on you. They want to pressure you can say, go to hell, right? These people elected me, you didn't. That's how you restore representative governance, okay? We have to rebuild the party from the bottom up. Our founding fathers knew that the best government was government that was closest to the people, right? I have said forever, when we talk about term limits and things like that, I don't think our congressman should have an office in Washington, D.C. Right? We're in business. We don't move to wherever we have customers. We get on an airplane, we fly, and we go. So why can't they fly in and vote and then come home? Why isn't their office only here so when they go to this incredibly good place called Verdi's down here to get a sub? Oh, you guys are so lucky. Man, I stumbled in that place. Go to Verdi's. Anyway, but when they're at Verdi's getting a sub sandwich, you're sitting there having a sub sandwich too. And when that lobbyist gets up and walks out, you can say, geez, Congressman, who was that? Well, that was the guy from, the hospital association who wants me to vote this way in this bill. Well, geez, Congressman, I think you should vote that way in this bill. Why do they have it in Washington? Is it for your benefit or for the lobbyist benefit? So why do we let them do it? See, so there are people in government that we are the happiest with, right? But our problem really isn't people. It's systemic. It's putting him in that position. That's the problem. And we need to make some changes. So we have to rebuild the party from the bottom up. Let me see, my next slide goes into this a little more, I think. How many of you guys know that Jane Timken is now the new state chairman of the Republican Party? Raise your hands. Okay. Jane Timken, as in Timken Steel, right? The wife of Tim Timken, the CEO, is now the head of the Republican Party. This is momentous to us because she didn't run to become the head of the party because her husband was going to run for governor. She didn't run for the party chairmanship because she wanted to get John Huston elected for governor. She didn't run like everyone you've ever heard of ran to basically run the political machine. In her program, in her, running for office, she put out a series of emails to the state central committee members saying that she wanted to restore power to the local county parties. That she would not pick favorites in primaries. What a concept. Wow. So guess what? You